Morning, everyone. So, I am here with the Indian Express newspaper, and today's date is 26th November 2025. Okay, so let's begin today's session. What's the news of today? At Ayodhya Temple, flag hosting ceremony, wounds of centuries healing, says PM, link Ram to nation. Okay, note sent to leader on November 22, day before rollback of Chandigarh bill, Punjab BJP was sent point in its favor. Troop shortfall. Army look to raise Agniveer vacancies to 1 lakh a year. Democracy in our DNA. Country needs to get rid of slavery mindset, said by Modi. Okay. The another news is 1983 Nili massacre. To report, one blames it on polls, other differ. Okay. So let's move on to the another page. This is the second page where you get detailed explanation of the first page. Okay. It's about the city. Okay. No tender required for emergency maintenance up to rupees 10 lakh, said by DJB. Okay. Digital arrest fraud, 3 held for duping 71-year-old. Okay. This is about the city where capital crisis. CM focuses on dust in pollution fight, tells official to hit ground, file report. This is all about the air quality index of Delhi. Okay. It's the politics page. What it will tell? It tells about the contractors face penalties rupees for 12.95 crore already recovered. JJM graft after PM push, 7 states slap rupees 129 crore fine. Okay. In first meet, Nitish cabinet endorses plan for job creation 11 satellite townships. Private sector should be but Private sector should put profit and national interest in tandem, said by Rajnath Singh, Defense Minister. European Union leadership accept invite for chief guest at Republic Day parade. Okay, it's the Constitution Day, 76th Constitution Day. India celebrating democratic journey. Okay, today is the date of 26 November, and this is the day where the कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन इज कम्प्लीटली मेड अप ओके आज वो दिन है जब पूरी तरह से कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन बन के तैयार हो गया था एंड द टाइम टेकन इन मेकिंग दैट कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन मीन्स इंडियन कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन द ड्यूरेशन इज ऑफ 2 years 11 months 18 days ओके 2 साल 11 महीना 18 दिन का टाइम लगा है एंड after that a lot of laws rights and after everything at and on 26th November, this constitution is completely made up. Okay, let's move on to the another news where 350 martyrdom anniversary of Guru Tegh Bahadur. Operation Sindoor showed New India does not bow before terror, said by PM. Soul of those who sacrifice life for Ram temple must be in peace today, RSS chief. Agnipath stir after BJP MLA letter over cases against youth, UP begins review. Move on from that page. It's about the nation. What's the news of UGC? Where Supreme Court to examine work of private universities seeks detail from UGC state governments. Women from state harassed at Shanghai airport, Arunachal, an inalienable part of India. Government rejects China claim. Three held for selling jackets with Lawrence Bisnoy's name. Okay. Elect BJP backed candidates in rural polls get rupees 10 lakh MOS offer to Karimnagar. Finally, we are at the editorial page, and this is the one of the most important page of today's session. Okay, so what's inside it? Let's read. Okay, in detail each and every line, so that you will get a lot of ideas about the economy and what is happening in the economy. Okay, so the word of the day: against the assault of laughter, nothing can stand. Mark Twain. Trump's Ukraine peace plan is audacious. India has a stake in its success. So, for India, the potential shift is consequential. Delhi worries about G2, a Sino-American condominium over Asia, but has far fewer concern about an E2 or US Russia cooperation in Europe. Any accommodation between Washington and Moscow would make it easier for Delhi to sustain its ties with both. Okay, so it's the article about the potential shift of Delhi consequences. Okay, and Delhi worries about G2, a Sino American condominium over Asia. It's mainly the news. So let's read it in detail. What is happening and what's the main thing that that the news tell about. Raja Mandala. C. Raja Mohan. US President Donald Trump. New peace plan for Ukraine offers a fresh look at what was long seemed an impossible proposition, a US Russia partnership. Washington and Moscow have been at odds for nearly 2 decades, and many capitals have assumed the rivalry is permanent. Trump is challenging that assumptions. He appeared willing to take the relationship in different direction. His Ukraine peace plan contains ideas with sweeping implications, reintegrating Russia into the world economy, inviting Moscow back into Western G7, and launching a broad US Russia economic partnership. Trump's 28-point peace formula for Ukraine mirror key Russian demands, ceding eastern Ukraine and Crimea, keeping KYIV out of NATO and limiting its military. Okay, so what does it says? It's about that US President Trump and his new peace plan for Russia, means Ukraine, not for Russia, and it's long seen possible that Russia and Ukraine will um, just be in a peace form, means they just end the war what is happening between Russia and Ukraine. And this is the main thing that the author just trying to explain, that Trump is just trying to stop that war. And in G7, G28, or another whatever the thing, each and every places Trump is trying to make the peace formula for Ukraine mirror key Russia demand. And what are the demands of Russia? We already read it, where the eastern Ukraine and Crimea keeping KYB out of NATO and limiting its military. Okay, so these all are the things that is written here. And through reading the first para, I already get a lot of ideas, because I thought that this article is mainly about the Trump and how the Russian president and Ukraine president Vladimir Putin and Volodymyr Zelensky, how the Trump want to meet with them, and how they just want to create a peaceful treaty between them, so that the war will get stopped and it will be helpful for all over the world. Okay, due to that war, a lot of countries facing a lot of problems, and a lot of issues, even the climate changes, and a lot due to that military guns and weapons that is already used. Okay, so these all are the news. So Trump war has only tightened that bond cut off from West after Crimea in 2014 and fully ruptured after 2022 invasion. Russia turned decisively towards Beijing, now its principal economic partner, energy customer, technology provider, and geopolitical backer. Okay, so the sect is shown between all over the world, and India sees it conflict between Russia and the West at the West End at the earlier. Yet Delhi has never subscribed, viewed to Russia and America are permanent adversaries, not to the belief that Moscow will support India against the West. India remembered that US, Soviet Union, and military allies World War Two. Okay, so everything is there. So the main idea of the author just telling about that Trump seeks reapproachment with Russia. His administration has imposed punitive tariff on India for buying Russian oil, but such contradictions are inherent to the logic of geopolitical politics. India's priority must be avoid getting entangled in great power geography, okay, and enhancing India's power must remain the sole criteria guiding its great power diplomacy. Okay, so these all are the main idea of the passage. Okay, and it shows the impact of that war and how the peace treaties get announced between them. These all are the concept. Okay, what's the another topic of today's editorial? Cars are culprit. Greening them is key. Don't count students by faith. It's wrong, illegal. Constitution's vision of rights was ahead of its time. Beginning of the end of the free range internet era. Funny things about AI, LLM can't lol. This is the ideas page where the journey to Vikshit Bharat, our guiding ideal guide, is the constitution. We are going to read about the page of economic and explanation in detail. Okay, it's also about the nation. So in the explanation page, there are some topics that I already highlighted. This is aviation and this is defense. Okay, in defense segment, Tejas crash, need for and risk in high performance air maneuvers. Okay, aviation, highly QB, why volcanic ash is dangerous for aircraft. Okay, so Tejas crash, need for and risk in high performance air maneuver. Okay, so in the Air show last week, we already read about this news where the Tejas fighter jet has crashed in the air, and the Air Marshal Diptendu Chaudhary, retired, tells Amrita Nayak Datta about that common reason for air display accident and the risk and relevance of high performance maneuvers in military aviation. Wing Commander Naman Sayal had performed the negative G maneuver with Tejas aircraft second before it crashed. Okay, so the inquiry that established the exact cause of that crash, what is reason of typically found for such accident globally. Okay, so every reason is written here, why that flying aircraft or airjet it get blasted. Okay, how different is performing an aerial display in domestic flypast, vice versa, flying in a global air show? Okay, how ash cloud from Ethiopia volcano reached all the way to India. Two things to know: what helps peasants navigate long distance back to their home, and another point is about the health, how a 1 week social media break can benefit mental health of young adults. Okay, this is about the world where Pakistan strike killed 10 in Afghanistan, says Taliban, promises to respond. Zelensky ready to move forward with peace plan, discuss issues with Trump. So finally, we are at the economy page. Let's read it. Low inflation and tax cuts likely spurred consumption growth in July to September. So India's Quarter 2 GDP growth seen above RBI's was 7% forecast, but data may contain some noise. Okay, so there is low inflation due to tax cut through the growth of July to September. Okay, so India's Quarter 2 GDP growth seen above RBI 7% forecast. Okay, means RBI already forecast about the GDP is about 7%, and International Monetary Fund IMF also forecast the approximately 6.2 or 6.3% of GDP growth. Okay, so but the data have contained some noise. Okay, because that estimates is getting wrong in the second GDP quarter. So the Indian economy is likely to have performed beyond expectation in the second quarter of fiscal year 26, according to economists speaking ahead of the November 28 release of fiscal data by the Statistics Ministry. The upcoming release is likely to show the economy performing better than the Reserve Bank of India's forecast of 7% growth, they said. Okay, so another 7% expansion in the July quarter, despite the 50% US tariff that came into effect in late August, would burnish India's growth rate. Growth is tracking better than expected, with Quarter 2 fiscal year 26 GDP growth at 7.3%, and data for April to June contained some noise that made reading headline number difficult. For one, low inflation means nominal growth, okay, or growth without adjustment for peace change. 3 quarter low 8.8%, and the last quarter which 7.8%. Okay, so the nominal GDP growth rate needs to monitored for two reasons. First, it is not only tracking below finance ministry budgets assumption of 10.1%, but economists are predicting it could be lower than 8% growth. Okay, so in both the July September quarter and fiscal year 26 that is required to meet budget estimate as per latest GDP estimate for fiscal year 25. Budget math with tax collection not growing as hoped, and fiscal deficit and debt to GDP ratios being higher than estimated. GDP growth below GVA, gross value added, the consumption quarter, and the corporate overperformance, and the government capex continues. Everything is written here, okay? And each and every question that is arise in your mind, every answer is written in the passages, okay? So 7% plus expansion to burnish growth story. while possibly lower than 5-quarter high growth rate of 7.8% in April to June quarter, another 7% plus expansion in July to September quarter, despite the 50% US tariff that came into effect in late August would furnish India's growth story. Okay, so move on to the another topic. Innovate, break into market through quality. CEA Nageshwaram in MSMEs. CEA Anant Nageshwar spoke at the launch of report on MSME. Okay, access to finance and timely payment. Okay, export back to growth zone, says Goyal. Good chance Trump may unveil Fed pick by Christmas present. So finally, I'm going to end today's session. If you have any doubt, then please comment now. I will definitely solve it. And thank you for watching. Please like, share, and subscribe.